Ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful day today here at the Newell Coach Rally in Grove, Oklahoma. And today I happen to find a couple that's been Newell owners for a long time. And these owners are special because Patsy is the artist behind all of the beautiful paintings that we see in Newell Coaches. David and Patsy, how are you doing today?
We're great.
We're doing very well, Andrew. It's sure a pleasure to be here.
Been a great rally.
Yeah, it sure has. So what have you enjoyed the most about this rally?
I enjoy the people, and the Newell family is just outstanding. Not only the people that operate the company and work at the company, but the customers. Nearly all of them are just excellent, smart people, mostly entrepreneurs, and have done just wonderful things, and it's very interesting to meet them and talk to them.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Patsy, any specific highlights for you of the rally?
Seeing younger people that are now Newell owners and how they respond to some of the things we do, that is just makes it lots of fun. And you renew old friends, but you also meet so many of these young people. It's just amazing, like you.
Likewise. Now, how long have you been RVing for?
We actually started in the early 70s with a Starcraft motor home. We did that for several years. We got away from it for a few years, then we got back in it again in the early 80s and have been doing it ever since. Since the early 80s, I think we've been in 7 different motor homes, some of the top end motorhome bus conversions in the industry. Last 9 years we've been in the Newells, and it took us a while to get here, but we're glad we're in Newell because they're first class.
I agree. Now, what made you choose to kind of switch over to Newell after being in the bus conversions and stick with Newell for the last 9 years?
Well, one of the things that made us switch over was we have a handicapped daughter that had traveled with us quite a bit in the past, and it was getting harder and harder to get her in the coaches, and Newell was one of the only ones that we could find that offered a wheelchair lift, and we finally found one of those. We liked a lot of the features about the Newell, but that was why we really got into that first one, was to get that wheelchair lift so that we could get her in and out.
It wasn't just the lift, but the whole interior was designed to be accessible, because the driver was the one that designed, to fit a driver, not just a passenger. So the entire coach was accessible to a wheelchair.
But when we decided to upgrade, Newell is just so far superior on their service, their layouts, their floor plans, that we just didn't look at anything else. We wanted to stick with Newell, even though it had several high-end bus conversions previously.
But this also, it doesn't look like it's accessible, but it is. We have a lift that they installed that we can bring our daughter inside, and she does travel with us some, so we can still get her in everywhere. But the Newell family were so, I was inside when they were installing the lift, and they didn't know it was in here, so they had the door open working on that. It goes up a pole and swings in. And we've known these guys for a long time, and they had 2 of them there working on it, and there were like 3 or 4 of them standing there, and they said, "Now you act like you can't do anything, and we're going to put you in the lift and go up." And they actually personally tried it out with one of them, pretending he was a handicap. It was just the cutest thing, and I've just loved them ever since.
Yeah, I talked to a lot of Newell Coach owners, and one of the things that really people get excited about is the artwork in their coaches, and a lot of the newer coaches. Now, how long have you been doing paintings for the insides of the Newell coaches?
Well, that's good to hear, Andrew. The first rally we went to with Newell was in the Northeast, and we didn't know any other owners, and I met Amber and Becky, and didn't realize who they were. So we're getting acquainted. I was showing them pictures of my family on my phone, and Amber said, "What are they standing in front of, this picture of your family?" And I said, "That's a painting of mine." And she said, "You're an artist?" And I said, "Yes." And she grabbed me by the arm and she said, "We need to talk." And from then on, we started with, she said, we have recesses, which I have to say, as far as I know, they are the only motor coach that has any nod to the arts, as far as taking your own art or making it more personal by your own art. But the recesses are a brilliant idea, because they are right there where the slides work, and you don't see it until you pull it out. And I have to say that we started out with an occasional person wanted their own art, wanted me to do their art, and then since then, and that's been what, 6-7 years ago.
You started doing this in 2015.
Yes.
Okay.
And I have had the pleasure of seeing it grow, and people become more interested in art, because that's my passion, is that introducing art to other people. And there have been numerous coaches. I have done as many as 5 pieces for one coach, so that's been tremendously rewarding to me. And also, just recently, I know of a client of Newell's that I had done a piece of work for them, and I got to see it in their coach, and they said, "So how often were you in the coach to create this that matches so well?" And I said, "I've never seen your coach before." All of this comes through Becky and Amber, and they tell me, I never speak with the clients or anything. They tell me a little bit about them personally, so I kind of read what they tell me, and it just happens. Amber and I especially, we just, when she tells me a color, I know exactly what she's talking about. When I'm talking with her, we always are in sync, and that makes my job so much easier. But this one particular client had me do one for his first coach, and then he got another coach and asked for 2 more that were coordinated with that one, and I never saw that piece again or that client ever. And Newell said he wants 2 more that are coordinated with that, and he took the one from an original coach that he had me do and added it to his other coach, so he had 3 pieces that he actually cared enough to take with him from coach to coach, and that's a first. That was a first too. So that was really fun. But they're really, people say the Newell family, but they really are family to us. During COVID, we were shut down in Texas, and I have a studio where I could go work alone, and no one else was there. So they had a lot of things we were working on with Newell that kept me from losing my marbles during COVID shutdown, and it's just been one plus after another with Newell, and we just love them.
It's been really cool to see how you're able to tie in folks' ideas and their interests. I've had several Newell Coach owners they couldn't believe how you were able to take just a few ideas, a little bit about their personality, and then the exterior paint scheme and the interior colors, and just somehow tie it all together. Is there any formula you have for that, or?
We started saying, this rally is the first time I've met, to believe it or not, that I was a kind of incognito, because in my artwork I use my maiden name and my last name, Parkslow, and the people at rallies would know me by Patsy Lowe, and no one ever knew I was the artist till this rally. It's been just so amazing, because Ms. Regal recognized my name, and got to meet them and see their coach, and see, I don't get to usually see them installed, the work installed, so that's been a huge plus. And then they kind of put me on the program, let me give a presentation, and that was great, because so many others, I would recognize their name, because they give me the coach number and the last name, and that's all I get from who it is. And sometimes there's a switch, if something is different, and sometimes they'll have a show coach, and all I know is it's the show coach and the number, but then it sells to someone who eventually they request art that's in their last name in that number, Coach. I'm not a numbers person, as you might guess. So this has been so amazing to have these people pop up, and I get to actually talk to them, and it's just been so much fun. I don't know. I have no formula, certainly, because everybody's so different. Some of the more interesting ones that were so different from, like, for instance, Adam Willis's
Yeah.
Adam and Julia. That was a really high pressure deal because I just did 3. She said I could be bold, and I went, oh, good. And it just happened. I mean, I knew a little bit about them, about their business, and I had no idea what caliber coach that was. And so it was just a divine thing, I guess.
I don't know if you saw the YouTube video I did with Adam, but and how you had the tire track, like a dirt bike tire through the abstract, and I was just blown away at how you're able to tie it, and that's one thing. It's like they're like, we didn't even talk to the artist, and we feel like, how did this artist just do so well? So I'm really impressed with your communication with Newell Coach and how you put it all together. Now, is there any other favorite coaches or paintings that come to mind?
And I'm glad you said Newell, because as you can see, all of my input comes from Newell. So it's kind of what they have done that have helped me do these that match so well. But like Adam's coach was such a, I saw your video, someone told me, and I went, oh good, I get to see that in there. I had no idea until I saw your video. Oh my gosh. And one other that was really interesting is Amber said this couple wants pictures of their horses, and I'm a horse person myself. I thought, oh my goodness, okay. Well, I said, we'll give it a try. And she sent me a phone shot picture of 6 horses installed in their stable. So here's 6 horses all facing one way. And I know horse owners, you have to get a portrait of their animal with that look in its eye that they recognize. And she wanted me to switch of the 6 horses, put 3 on the right and 3 on the left. So I had to take that little fuzzy picture and turn it totally different and paint their horses. And I just, I thought, well, it turned out better than I ever expected. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it just seems like something happens for the way it's supposed to happen, but I never heard another word. And I finally asked Amber, did the horse still work? I mean, did she like them? Did she think those were really her horses? And she said, oh, she just loved them. I mean, they're just used to people liking their coaches, and they say they just loved it. That's the bottom line. Yeah. But that was quite a challenge, and it turned out. You know, I wouldn't be telling you about it. It didn't turn out.
Yeah. Never met anybody that wasn't happy. 1731 with kind of a water theme. They were really excited about that. I saw those pictures recently. It's really awesome to meet you and you know, get a face behind all these beautiful paintings we've seen. But you also have a lot of experiences RVing, and I'm wondering if you have any advice for all the folks out on YouTube that may be considering either RVing or purchasing a Newell Coach.
Well, one thing that I tell people, if you're just starting in this, try to start out with what you really want, because it's cheaper to start out with what you really want than it is to start out low end and trade 2 or 3 or 4 times and get quality, because you're talking about a moving house, and things are going to shake and break and fall apart, and the better it's built to start with, the longer it's going to last, and the happier you're going to be with it.
Awesome. Patsy, any advice that you may have?
Well, I hear, in fact, I have a friend that he would love to have a motor coach, but his wife's not sure about it. And I've invited them over because once you see that you can have your own stuff wherever you go, that's huge. And you know, at our age, you have grandchildren or children that may live where you don't get to see them that much, and it's just such a plus to be able to go wherever you want, have your own things. And that's one thing that everybody seems to, if they can convince their wife, that this is going to be like home. They're halfway there. And I agree with David, you know, if you get quality, I mean, you're going down the road and you're putting your life and your whole money in something that needs to be well done. I mean, people don't, but they think that's a luxury, but sometimes it's a kind of a necessity for some.
Well, I much prefer, and when people ask me for my advice, I tell them, you're much better off buying a 10-year-old high-end coach such as this as opposed to a brand new low-end coach. You're going to be much, much happier over the long term.
And I will say, Andrew, David, and a lot of the guys that we've met, David's unusual in that he's been a pilot almost all his life, and he likes the technology and the systems and stuff. That tends to appeal to that kind of guy. And I would hate to think of somebody that wasn't into that at all trying to switch over, but we talked to lots of people that have, and they love it anyway, and never had the slightest problem understanding how to do it. But he particularly likes that, the technology.
David and Patsy, I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time to share with me and the folks on YouTube some incredible stories, and really awesome to finally have a face behind all these awesome paintings that all of you out there on YouTube I'm sure have seen in previous videos. So can't thank you guys enough. And I also greatly appreciate all of you out there on YouTube subscribing to the channel and liking these videos. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you.